First of all, let's talk about why we are here. How are you assessing the dynamics and the outlook for the market as we head into Q4? What's front of mind for you?
Yeah, well, I think this Inpex is an Asian company. Perhaps I would like to talk from the Asian perspective. I think during the transitions, I think everybody understands the importance of energy now. I think what is important is, of course, transition, but I think to balancing the transition with energy security seems to be very much important to view. And from Asian companies now, since the economic is growing very fast in Asian countries, they are very much determined to continue to use energy for a longer time. So I think Asian companies now understand energy is a very important energy during the transitions. That's the first thing. The second thing I'd like to mention is that I think when we consider the transitions, every country really do have each various pathways towards transitions. Now, every country, Asian country, understands the importance of transition. However, I think transition requires a lot of money, capital injections, and Asian companies, Asian government cannot afford a lot of money, such as the IRA in the United States. So, how to minimize the cost for transition seems very much important in Asian countries. For example, coal-fired power plant. Everybody says, "Oh, we should not have the coal-fired plant." But in Asian countries, since they have a lot of new coal-fired power plants, they would like to continue to use coal-fired plant. To replace this by energy power plant is, of course, easy things. It is easy to say such kind of things, but in reality, it is not important. So how to minimize the cost during the transition is a key issue for Asian countries. Yeah. And in terms of the coal-fired plant, maybe the co-combustion of clean ammonia in the coal-fired power plant may be one solution, not perfect solution, but I think might be one solution during transition.
Yeah. Look, the other interesting thing is Steve and I were just talking about how only a few years ago ADIPEC was very much focused on oil and gas. Yeah. Now the focus is on the lead up to COP28. Yeah. Sultan Al Jaber has asked oil executives how they can decarbonize faster. What's your answer to that question?
Well, how to decarbonize? I think before answering to that questions, I think who should play a very important role for decarbonization. I think, as Dr. Jaber said, I think the large emitting companies, CO2 emitting companies such as oil and gas and steels and cement should play an important role. We must be serious to decarbonize. Otherwise, maybe we can do that. We are actually a lot of emitting companies of carbon dioxide. Without the cooperation of those industries, I think decarbonization is just a dream. So what I think Abu Dhabi wants to do is to bring those industries into the COP process. That is, I think, a revolutionary process. So I'm very happy to cooperate with Dr. Jaber and David about that.
Wait a second. How does this work in terms of the marriage between government and corporations? Because there's a lot of individual companies here who are getting told by government they need to improve reliability, they need to improve the transition, actually. But a lot of the companies back at the government, back at the COP process, have said, well, you need to give us legislation, you need to give us regulations that make our job easier in the transition. Do you think actually governments, and dare I say especially Western governments, are failing to give the platform for companies in order to make that transition?
Yeah. Well, I think that is quite important. I think the decarbonization cannot be conducted just only by one company. We have to cooperate with other companies, other interests, and of course with the government. Government should provide the platform so to ensure a lot of decarbonization projects to be commercially viable. I think the key issue is to make the project to be commercially viable. Without this, I think private company cannot make an investment in that area. So the regulation by the government, carbon pricing government, I think those major tools will play a very vital role. So I think cooperation between government and industry is very much important to realize the decarbonization.